and welcome back to my channel roseyhome. In today's video I am going to be sharing with you all my tips on how to give up breastfeeding. Now I have exclusively breastfed all three of my children, Rosalie who is now 7, Maeve who is now 5 and Ada who is she's going to be 2 in February. She is, how old is she? It's January now. She is 23 months old. So I am still currently breastfeeding Ada. Well, actually I have stopped, but yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with it. I have not been breastfeeding her for about 5 days now. Before then, I was breastfeeding her in the morning, as soon as she got up, before her nap, and at night, last thing at night before she goes to bed. So she was having 3 breastfeeds a day, but for the last, when did I stop? Since last Friday, so for the last 5 days, I haven't given her any breastfeeds, and so far so good. I find it normally takes around a week, so I only have about 2 days to go, and then she should have pretty much forgotten. Today, I've literally just put her down for a nap. I read her a story and put her in her cot, and she went down on her own without a breastfeed, so this is amazing. So yeah, I'm really positive. I feel like we've done it now. We've turned a corner, and yeah, I'm ready to give up breastfeeding. So in this video, I am going to be sharing with you how I managed to stop breastfeeding and all my tips to make the transition as easy as possible. So let me tell you a little bit more about my story. As I said, I have exclusively breastfed all 3 of my children, and yeah, just gradually weaned them both off. I find the best method to stop breastfeeding is to just go completely cold turkey. It can be uncomfortable. You can drop feeds gradually and go down to 1 feed a day before you stop completely, but to be honest, I don't think that makes much difference to the baby. It's more just your own comfort, because obviously when you stop breastfeeding your boobs get very full and hurt, so it can be uncomfortable. In the past, that is what I've done. I've gone down to only 1 feed a day, but the way our life routine is at the moment, Ada was still having 3 feeds. They weren't very long, but she was still having that every day. I made the decision that I wanted to stop. She's coming up to her 2nd birthday, and I thought it was about time. And the main pull for me to do it, I would have carried on, but she was starting to want it in the middle of the day, like not at nap time. If she just had it at those times, then I would have carried on forever, but she was starting to ask for it when we were out or when I was sat down. If I sat down at all on the sofa during the day, she would climb on me and want it, especially in the afternoon, like around witching hour, around 3 or 4 in the afternoon before we were having dinner. She would start asking for boo-boos, is what she calls it. She'd climb on my lap and start trying to pull my top down. So for me, that was a sign that it was time to end our breastfeeding journey, just because it's when I say no to her, it's upsetting for her, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So I made the decision that I was going to stop breastfeeding altogether, and I didn't particularly mean to do it at the moment, but last weekend we went out for dinner, so the girls had a sleepover at Nanny's. Ada has had sleepovers in the past, and Nick has put her to bed in the past, so I know she can go to sleep without a feed. It's not that she needs it. She has done that in the past multiple times, so I know she's okay doing that. Having your baby be somewhere else for the night is a good way to start stopping, because you've already done like a whole day when you get them back. So my first tip would be to plan a weekend or a night away where your baby can go somewhere else, just as I say, to break the breastfeeding pattern and to allow them some time without breastfeeding, without you there to remind them about breastfeeding, and just to give both of you a little bit of a break. I always find that a really good way to start off the trying to stop breastfeeding. My second tip is to get someone else to do bedtime. This has been very tricky for us, which is one of the reasons why it's taken me so long to stop breastfeeding, because Nick's all around. Nick's not around very often, he works away, so I'm doing bedtime on my own all the time, and for ease I like to give Ada a feed so that she'll settle and she won't cry when I put her down. So that's why I've kept doing it for so long. But Nick has actually got a week off this week, so he's been around much more, so it seemed a good opportunity for him to take over bedtimes with Ada every night that he's home. Normally I would do Ada's bedtime. I would after her bath, I would put her in her pajamas, put her in her sleeping bag, read her a story, and then we'd have a breastfeed, and then she'd go to bed. So we're just cutting out the breastfeed. We're trying to substitute with something else. So we're reading a couple more stories instead of having another breastfeed. We're getting a teddy and we're cuddling that, just to fill the gap really, so that she doesn't miss breastfeeding. We have still got a dummy. We are still using a dummy. She only has it at night time, so we are giving her that. That is going to be the next thing I'm going to have to give up, but I wanted to get breastfeeding out of the way first. So she has her dummy. We only give her that when she's reading her stories, and then we will lay her down in the cot with her dummy and her teddy, and she goes off. As I said, we have been doing that for the last 5 days solidly, and it has been working, and she's gone to sleep fine every night. We have done that at different periods over the last year. Nick has done the odd bedtime, but we have never done 5 nights in a row like that. So yeah, it's going well. My third tip would be to change the setting where you do your bedtime routine. So normally I would bring her into my room, I would get her dressed in here, I would put her in a sleeping bag, as I said, read a story, breastfeed her, sat on my bed, and then take her into a cot. But since we started trying to stop breastfeeding, we have now switched that up, and we are, as soon as Ada gets out of her bath, we are taking her into her bedroom. We are drying her in there, putting her pajamas on in there, putting her in a sleeping bag in there, and reading a few stories all in her room, just so she notices that this is different and this is a different routine now, which doesn't include the breastfeeding. My fourth tip is to replace it with something else. I've touched on this already because I've told you what we're doing, and we are replacing the breastfeed with another story and cuddles. So I'm actually getting a teddy. She's got this big teddy bear, and we're getting that out, and the last story I am cuddling Ada, and then she's cuddling the teddy bear, and we're reading the story together. I just think that that helps them realise that things have changed, and that breastfeeding is not going to happen anymore, and that we're doing this cuddle with Teddy instead. You can tell them that as well. Like, I'm like, now we're going to cuddle Teddy. She hasn't actually asked for it at bedtime yet. But if she does, I'll be like, no, we're not doing that. We're cuddling Teddy. And that will help reassure her that this is the new way that we are doing things at bedtime. My fifth tip is to give your baby lots of drinks. We don't realise how much, well, I don't realise how much they take from you when they're breastfeeding. So to make sure that Ada doesn't get thirsty, I have given her a drink at all times. She always has a beaker with some water in near her so that she can drink constantly, because obviously I don't want her to feel thirsty or suffer any ill effects or become dehydrated because she isn't getting the breast milk. So I'm giving her lots of drinks throughout the day to keep her hydrated. Number 6 is your boobs will be like rocks. Mine are a little tender now still, but if they get really full, my advice would be to just hand express slightly. So I've been doing that. I only did that the last 2 nights. I didn't need to before that, but they were quite full last night, so I just hand expressed a little before I went to bed, just to make myself more comfortable whilst I was sleeping. And yeah, I just did a little bit in the bath. You don't want to do too much, because obviously you don't want to encourage your milk to come back, but just to take the edge off and to make your night more comfortable, to make your boobs more comfortable, I would recommend just hand expressing a little to get rid of some of that milk. And lastly, I just wanted to say, if you are trying to stop breastfeeding, hang in there. It is an emotional time. I'm on the fence about it, to be honest. I'm trying not to think about it too much, because I feel like it's something that we need to do. I've been hanging on to it. Ada is my last baby, and I've loved all of my breastfeeding journeys, and it makes me sad to think that I'll never ever do this again. So I have probably clung on a little longer than I should have, but stay strong, hang in there. It normally takes about a week until they've forgotten about it, so it doesn't take long at all. I find with any routine with a baby, if you do it for a week, then you're pretty much set if you can get through that. So yeah, keep going. As I said, I'm 5 days down, 2 more to go. Hang in there and keep going. Stay strong for the sake of your baby, because it's not doing them any favours going back and forth. It's confusing for them. So yeah, if you're going down this road, I wish you all the best, good luck, and I'll see you on the other side. If you are planning on stopping breastfeeding, let me know down below in the comments. If you've got any tips for anyone else, write them down there, so then we can all help each other. As I said, I'm 5 days in. I think if I get to the end of the week, then we'll probably be good. My boobs will have calmed down by then, and hopefully Ada will have forgotten and won't ask for it anymore. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!